Pangenesis is a void that became an I am universe. From the void something came. What it is a vibration. It is a spark. It is a plus and minus vibration. The zero vibrated. The void vibrated. This vibration, caused by unknown sources, began at zero time, zero space. One can only conclude at zero time is the beginning. In the beginning, was there space? There was no space. It was just a void, a zero, the very smallest of zeros. And then a vibration came, the spark. This spark was a plus, a zero middle, and a minus, as a vibration must do. The Planckian wave, which is a digital wave. It is a 1, 0, 1. Mathematical. They oppose each other. Infinity, they must equal at some point. They are the carrier of all other information. So the very basis of the beginning is your own personal plus 1, 0, minus 1. It's the Holy Trinity. A beginning. The mental, the I am. Call it the atom and the omega. Did they start at a different time? Very so slightly. At the very infinite amount of small, the first one. The first vibration. Initiated. A carrier. Throughout. Its universe. It lived alone within a vast nothing. So therefore it was its universe. It was the universe. Everything else around it seems to have grown to the dimension past the zero time. Because the zero time plus minus vibration was virtually impossible to see. Therefore before this time, there was nothing. There was something that gave way to the first vibration. We must admit that there's a vibration that comes. Maybe it comes around. What if the zero beginning time and the end time of itself? So its own alpha and omega, its own beginning and its own end, divided by zero, like the Ouroboros will show us. The head eating the body, the past eating the future. But is it creating the future body? The body is putting out what the voice says. The body is what the voice says. The mind creates its body, its vibrations, as everything that is body is vibrations, harmonic vibrations. They harmonize with the source, the very first, plus 1, 0, minus 1, the zero never changes. The zero is your soul. It is your reference point. The alpha and omega are in separate domains. They do not interact. As an electrical, you cannot have a positive and negative together, because together they amount to zero, meaning annihilation. So they cannot live together. There has to be a separation. Between the two, however, like within a battery, there is a transition from a plus to a minus through the body of a battery. The battery itself will convert or polarize its members. Every part of the microchemical action is done on a nuclear level. Therefore, the smallest thing at the pool, the poles of the Planck at the smallest. That's where the beginning alpha triggers the omegas. Choose a polarity. Therefore, one is going to be attracted to one side, and the other will be attracted to the other side. This is charge, but it is created by an action. That action is supplemented by a source battery, cannot live forever together with its chemical reactions. It will die. It will not be able to live any longer than hours, a short period of time. Now, if we consider the body, only has to every cell, every Planckian part of our body, has a battery at the Planckian level so small we don't even see the registration of those vibrations, but they still affect the nuclear part of our body. All our cells, all our atoms, they are vibrations. So therefore they will respond to an action, the action being electric, the reaction being magnetic. Because in the electric makes it spin, it gives an angular momentum. Therefore it creates the body. The electric creates the magnetic spin that is the body. So it's the chicken and the egg. Something initiated the egg. There had to be. But the egg supplies back information to the source. Otherwise, it's blind. To it, it's not doing anything. If you send information out and it's not returned, you might as well not have sent it. You don't exist. You don't matter. You don't reflect. Therefore, the universe doesn't see you. But that's not the case. We exist. We think, we activate, we see, we do with more action, more information, and we react with the supply. So, it's a feedback system from point of view of an Ouroboros, whereas the input feeds the output and vice versa. The output will feed back into the inputs. The polarity aligns itself to itself. There's always going to be a positive side and a negative side to you, to your thoughts, to your everything, because that is the vibration, where you come out in the middle. In the perfect middle is your intelligence, is your mind, capability of finding the best of the best, whatever it needs to God, because it is its own God. So in order to be something, you have to make it. So, And most of the time, it's just a choice. It's not having to do anything. It's allowing it to go forward. Just like the spark that allows it to vibrate, its own universe, personal universe. It's able to have baby IAMS. I am capital and I am minor. The minor is a reflection of my universe. Therefore, we're all universes. That will have an avatar, a reflection that is not real. Seems it is real to information. The information is real. We send, receive, that's the lifeblood. That's the blood of Christ. That's the whole reason why the chalice and bread and the wine. It is the Trinity. The body is the bread. The mind is the omega blood. The bread is its body. The chalice is the container, the zero. So the bread is -1, the wine is +1, and the cup is the zero, the God, the reference, the cavity of your mind. It's a black hole. It's the Holy Grail. It is where everything connects. For you, for your universe. We each have room. If we're located somewhere in the universe, then we can point to ourselves and direct ourselves accurately, without distortion because it's perfect. And there is no delay, no time, no space between the point that I am and the point that I am minuscule. It is an entangled resource, as if we're there, and we are there. In information pangenesis is the understanding of beginning and the end, which is a vibration that started and ended, but the ending reflected back to the source and the load, your center and your event horizon, which reflects back at you. Your sphere understanding is your fear, your sphere of body, and you can have many. In other words, you can create eggs, photonic eggs of your complete harmonics of the inside. So everything you think can be packaged and sent as a message across the universe. Whatever you've become up to this time, if not, eternity, because the crossover of zero is virtually zero time. So therefore, how can you assign the time to something that started as zero? It does not exist. So there's paradox that you have to deal with the pangenesis. Whereas you can extend yourself, excrete yourself. You try itis. Your eggs, your photons, your information can be trans as packets of information. So basically sending copies of your central universe. So at every time your brain picks up these mind packets of your central, it is a copy. It is a reflection. It's not perfect, but virtually perfect. You cannot have within a small sphere of atomic level the entire mind galaxy, universe, but you can extend yourself in your eggs and recreate yourself with your own resonation. So you can create a body of yourself and interface with it, integrate with it. So the pangenesis is the pan-zero point that connects it all. Every is your point. So your zero can be an extension of yourself. It's a cylinder. But in that cylinder, there's multidimensional information. The multi-informational being. One is sending and one is receiving. Same zero. But the information is in opposite direction. It goes forward and reverse. So in time, you can consider that as forward and reverse like the battery divided in two. It does eventually go reverse. Just as it goes forward, current is created as mind is created. So the positive is the alpha and the negative is the omega, and the polarization is created by the field that you'd seen. So we first is a field of information, then it is a field of energy. So it'll create a feedback network directly to you. So it's a two-way street. And we don't need much energy at the smallest Planck level to traverse the universe. So pangenesis is the ability to have connection to anywhere in the universe. At real time. Gyroscopic. What is it? Well, let me put it this way. There's universal laws. There's universal parameters that affect everything. And we have to expect that. So if you come from a center, then the center is predictor of everything that's around it. So really the center's one, and we have to say that it's a zero really, but a one is the outcome. Very difficult to consider that a zero has a one. But yet there it is. If it's just a zero, it wouldn't exist. It'd be just like every other zero in the universe. As the universe is a zero. But what comes out of it? Is there ripples in the universe itself? And are we a ripple of the universe itself? And can we create our own little universe by our ripple? Our own being. That emerged from a zero. Just like the universe did itself. It had ripples. I have ripples. My system has ripples. So therefore I am a universe. In the same fashion that the universe is. And I would claim that an atom is also a universe. It's a closed system. However, do we have to accept the fact that atoms are connected to its universe? And the same as our ripple, our own being is part of the grand universe as well. So we can communicate to the grand universe with our smaller universe and our smaller atomic universe. So there's a communication that happens between all of them. This is what I call the Z-up. And the Z-up is the interconnection of the way, the connection that determines what the output and input is. This connection is based on the fine structure constant. And what is the fine structure constant? Well, if you take all formulas, all mathematical devices that has terminology, has a term, and you put them all together in one big formula, what you're going to be left with is the fine structure constant. And all the terms are canceled. So you're left with a number. And what is this number? This number is 1/137, or digitally, it's 0.007. This 7 is the fundamental of everything as well. It's the 1 and the 0 of a universe, because it is the common point. Your universe, your atomic universe, and the grand universe. So, there's a grand unification of all the universes. We have our own. We live within our own galactic center. We have to accept that galaxies are the largest parts of the universe, and the intelligent parts, and the parts that are closed universes of their own. They're not system totally. There's still a Harkins point at the North Pole, and it's a monopole, and it acts the same as the fine structure constant. This structure is an electric out, vertical, and a spin in of angular momentum is the result of the energy. So even though there are different terms, they are different artifacts of the same phenomenon. It's like saying the 1 creates a 0, but the 1 came from 0. Again, it's a paradox. It seems that my 0 has a 1. Atomically, at clunk level, and then atomically, and then cellularly, and then body, and then solar system, and then galaxy, but they're all interconnected in their own domain. And that's very important, because we're not part of a big machine, a big chip, a big system that is a big conglomeration of everybody, and everybody is simulation from a big computer somewhere. No. We're all individual universes. Each one of us has an ability to universally grow. If you look at all the galaxies, it's not one identical one. Everyone is different, just like everybody's minds are different. You cannot just commonality everything. There is a simple solution, and it comes from 0 to 1, and the 1 will trigger another 0. Because energy sticks to other parts that are 0, so, in other words, if there's another 0 that is already existing somewhere, we can penetrate it through its Hawkins point, the northern North Pole, which is a monopole, meaning that there's a positive and negative or electric magnetic function. Now, we have to accept also that in space, this function of angular momentum goes away in space, or it becomes part of space. It collapses into space. Because space is a 0. Only the 1 gets through. Now, the first one, the fundamental one, is a needle. Is the finest fiber optic thread that you've ever found. It contains the smallest of frequency, the smallest of resonation. But this smallest of resonation contains immense amounts. It's not like a drum, whereas boom, boom, boom. It's a tone. It's such a high tone that how many drum beats can you put in a tone? You know, gigahertz, terahertz. We're talking about terahertz as far as the body, and nanohertz as far as space is concerned. So, really the frequency collapses in space. It becomes an electric signal, a 0 and 1, which is the basic fundamental of digital. Or if you can understand that there's 0 cannot be anything, then you have to accept that a +1 and -1 must exist as well. So that is the fundamental of everything. As far as what gives an interconnection? What gives life? What is life? It's a fluid of information, at the smallest level, at Planck level. And that's what we're talking about. This fine thread is Planck size, and we have to accept that our own minds became amplified from central point. So it grew within our own universe, our own galaxy. All the stars are our memories. All or everything we are as far as the universe is the same as everybody else. Everybody has its own universe. So we're all thinking units. We're all intelligent beings. We're all universes. And we can have our own planets and suns and everything else. So we are on our own universe. What else could be so grand like a universe and not have intelligence? Well, we know intelligence exists. It's everywhere. Intelligence is part of everything. If there's no intelligence, then nothing grows. Even naturally. There's a fundamentals of, splashing and whatever the mathematical compartment of whatever things that happen in the universe will enact itself to everywhere, anywhere, everywhere. So the fine structure constant affects everything. And so it brings us back to the gyrotropic. The gyro is the indicator or the length of the central position of our own universe. We have to accept that we are a frequency. I would say a frequency, but it's not a frequency. The frequency is within the 0, 1 portion, but the 0, 1 portion is really a needle. It's an electrojet, just like our galaxies are emitting. There is an inevitable output to the whole galaxy to a central point, and that central point is electrojet, and the electrojet is the one. It contains the information of its universe. So it's a concentration of intelligence. So you have to accept that that center is all-knowing, is intelligent to a level of beyond what a man can be. I mean, if you take a man's brain and you remove all the functions that are unrequired, and if you know about a water brain, you'll know that you can lose 90% of your brain and still be completely operational, completely normal. However, the outside surface is very important, the gray matter, whereas everything that matters is on the surface. And you'll notice also that there is an output at the very top of the brain, which is an input-output, and all it is an ability, is a dish, a satellite dish, if you will. If everything is connected to it, well, then that's the source of the intelligence. It's not the brain itself. So all of the central parts of the brain, and what are you left with? You're left with just the dish. The dish is the information. So really everything else is, you may lose some functions of your body because of it, but your brain still operates. It's still there, but it's just a receiver, a transmitter receiver. It's a dish, for all intents purposes. A satellite dish, and it'll emit and it'll receive. It's a two-way street, and that's why the way is a two-way street. And so the gyrotropic keeps you centered on your own universe, as well as everyone else. So the gyro is your fine structure constant, personal fine structure constant, that you can communicate throughout the universe just like everybody else.